Hello, welcome. Today we're exploring, again, as always, the sense of what is it to thrive and life. Now, that's not so easy. Some of us often wait for other people to claim us, and that can go all the way back to our infant development where we were never claimed. Some of you came into the world not being claimed. I have a course I'm leading right now on adoption, and we're doing some very deep, wonderful work on you wanting to be here, which can really change the whole perception of whether you're good enough. And we're going to talk more about that today. But as you arrive, take a moment and interlace your fingers and get some wiggle going. Now here, I want you to press down and through. So at first it's just movement. Hello, welcome. And from movement, I want you to add a little bit of pressure. Yeah, because I can tell you it takes a bit of potency to claim your life. So start with movement and just get used to the interactive relationship between your two hands. Really take a moment to, you can look around and let your hands keep going, because what you're doing is you're learning to start letting your listening in your body become stronger. And so at first our eyes and our vision might be stronger. And so as you look around, you might see things, all of that. And now I want you to bring the movement more into your awareness through your hands. So here, getting little waves going through the wrists. Why the hands are so important is they take up a huge part of the brain. If you've ever seen those caricatures of the brain called the homunculus, it's big old lips and big old hands, way out of proportion to the size of the body. And I know from working with children who have had a dysfunctional primitive grasp, it really, in developmental delay, you often want to look to repair the grasp of the hands if it's weak or the reflex is not integrated. So here we're taking this chance to integrate our perceptions, our special senses of the face and head, with a little more proprioception. And what that means is I want you to go from the movement, because that's a certain kind of perception, into the pressure, where you're creating pressure between your wrists and into the joints of your hand and rolling through that pressure. Yeah, we are looking at claiming our lives today. What does it mean to claim your life? And I can tell you that is a continuing request inside myself, because I just had a little breakthrough this morning after being in a stress wave of confusion yesterday and a little bit of despair just about some circumstances I'm wrestling with in my own personal life. And I tell you, I took charge in a way I forgot I could. And that allowed me to sort of claim, once I claimed my life, I knew my next steps very clearly. And what I explored for myself personally was, that's right, this feeling of having to wait for others to do it for me goes all the way back to the incubator, where I had to wait for other people to claim me. And I don't want that for you. And I certainly, got through a big obstacle emotionally that I felt yesterday by claiming my life and remembering, I'm not supposed to sit here and wait for others. I can actually take a little bit of action on my behalf. How many of you, write in the comments if you grew up as a victim or you were adopted. I mean, adopted doesn't mean you're a victim. It just means many people don't feel claimed at the beginning of their life. And that's what we want to interrupt and repair. And it's not too late to join my adoption class if you have that issue or are a therapist or a parent of a child who's adopted, because we're doing such deep understanding of the complexity of the emotional experience all the way back to the infant self, all the way back to identity belief. And it's identity belief that often interrupts us claiming our life. Hello, welcome. So here we are with our hands. Take a moment. Stretch, move. Let your hands give you, let me say it differently. Put the sensation of your hand, you might have to slow down to get there. Put the sensation of your hands into an exquisitely wonderful and tender place. See if you can find just the tender, preciousness of your own hands. Interesting exploration. But see if you can, hands to heart, wrists to lungs, finding a tenderness, and allow that tenderness to literally support your sense of being good enough or being precious. Finding that tender movement, it's almost like a little micro movement, and allowing the quality of the hands. You know, the hands can hold precious things and they can feel preciousness. You know, you touch a child's cheek sometimes and they are just so precious. Or you touch someone you love and it's so precious. Hello, welcome. So feel that preciousness and allow it to come through. The preciousness, and you know, it could be towards a child. We sometimes feel it towards our pets. Sometimes we feel it towards the world. But feel that preciousness that the hands can perceive. And then feel the preciousness of yourself. Oh yes, if you were to touch yourself in a precious way, it would change your life. Absolutely, I want that for you. Many people have self-attack or self-doubt. Hi, Kate. Welcome. And with that self-doubt or self-attack, we forget we're precious. So here, if you're just coming on, take a moment to warm up your hands, getting a little wave going, little movement, wiggling movement, one hand, the other hand, and then allowing them to come together. And as they come together, add proprioception, because sometimes we don't know where we are in time and space. So adding proprioception. You wake up with self-attack energy. Okay, so we want to interrupt that habit, yes? So here, once you've got proprioception and a sense of where you are, look around. You can try this again if you already did it, because it's good to repeat things for the nervous system that are valuable. So you've got your ability to have senses and perception through sight and turning your head and orienting. And then we want to let that move to the background and let the movement of our hands come to the foreground. Proprioception is the ability to feel weight and pressure, which helps you relate to gravity, which lets you know you exist. And you exist in time and space. So here, Now let the movement of your hands come into the foreground of your attention with your skin. You could brush your skin a little. You could bring your hands to your face. But I want the focus to be in the hands themselves. And in that focus, slow it way down and see if you can feel the preciousness. As you move your hands, allow a quality of preciousness to enter. Oh, so precious. And then breathe into that. And see if you can start to rest into a quality of precious. The preciousness of life, the preciousness of your life, the preciousness of your loved ones, your community. Because part of claiming your life has to mean it's worth claiming. It's really worthwhile. You are worthwhile. And some people sort of claim their life from the outside in with their ego to prove they're worthwhile. And they're always having to prove something. And, getting more and bigger and better. And all that proving can often rest upon a weak sense of self. So we want the foundation from the inside out. That you can actually start to integrate hands to heart and the preciousness of your life. Now this is very important. I have adoption on my mind because I'm running my adoption course. We're having a wonderful time. It's not too late to join if you wanted to and you just didn't get to it in time. Just send an email to outreach@anniebrook.com. The link might still be in my bio to join. But there's something that is it really resolves an internalized self-doubt and an internalized sense of being a victim to the circumstances of your life if you can claim the events of your life and you can claim your preciousness. And again, I'm highlighting that is not from a me, I'm so special place. That's a weak sense of self. Or it's a grandiosity, a spoiled sense of self. But if you can come from, oh, I exist. I actually welcome. I actually exist. So yes, you proved yourself with academic degrees, but it doesn't heal what we're talking about. Well, I would love you to heal it because if you give yourself a foundation, then you can apply those wonderful academic learning to much and much better use. Yeah, so finding the preciousness, it's a felt sense. And then see if you can measure from your hands to your mouth. And sometimes you might have to watch your hands so that you start to create a sense of how much space you inhabit in your near kinesphere, right? You want a felt sense of the space around you. Because sometimes we don't know how to inhabit space with our preciousness. So take a little time and measure with your hands. Keep them clasped so you have that preciousness to return to. And then let rotation support your organs moving. Let a little spinal flexion support the reach out to space, the coming out to space, the pulling in. All the actions of the satisfaction cycle, which is part of also claiming your life. If you haven't downloaded my free PDF of the satisfaction cycle, I want you to practice it. You can just go to my website, anniebrook.com. There's a button to go to the free PDF library. And this is for you because everybody keeps asking me questions, and I want you to have the answers for what you're studying, what you're exploring. Learning to feel satisfied in life rather than deficient, rather than less than, rather than wishing everything was different, makes life better. And then you can create change. You can fine tune and adjust. But if you're caught in an unclaimed self, waiting for someone to do it for you, oh my gosh, that is not going to help you. And these moments come. You know, I was describing earlier how yesterday I had quite a struggle with something I was wrestling with in my life and feeling hopeless about, and how was I going to get there. And then I finally realized, I went over to a friend's and we played with tuning forks and things like that to work with vibrations. And I thought, oh, and then we did a tarot reading, all kinds of different fun games, right? Movement is another game. But I realized, oh, I was sort of waiting for someone else to take the next steps. And that's a very old habit of not being claimed when I was born and put in the incubator. My mom wasn't allowed to claim me. They wouldn't let her in the room. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad that you're figuring out this is exactly your issue. Well, then you know what to add as resources to help yourself, which is claiming the preciousness. That's what we're doing with our hands right now. And then we're claiming our spatial field. So this goes all the way around. So imagine now you have a breathing hula hoop, and it goes behind you. It's out to the side. So you could reach your hands out to the sides and feel space. And you can feel space this way, like the edge of it, all the way around behind. And you could feel it above. Oh, yeah. Many people do that and they don't know they're doing it. They wait for someone to come for them and say, here is your life. Here, we'll just give it to you. But your soul isn't allowed to do that. I think that there is a imperative, in a way, of a life being allowed to be your soul's mastery. And how do you work with that? You have to engage. You have to engage your life, claim it, so that, you start to feel responsible, accountable, as if you have the power of choice, instead of feeling everybody else has the power of choice and I'm just going to be angry about it, right? Everybody else has this and they're privileged, and all this stuff can get caught in an emotional drama. And guess how much time you lose? You lose years. You lose emotional drama, exhaustion. You organize your nervous system towards hatred or blame. All of these things do not allow you to develop your soul, to find the path through. Of course you can do this for yourself, even if your parents didn't do it when you were infants. Of course you can do it for yourself because you're not an infant. It's the infant who can't take charge. They need others, and it's a very dependent phase of life. And it's a beautiful phase of soul into body, and ideally we all wish to be welcomed and cared for and felt our preciousness. And when that doesn't happen, we can get stuck and feel like we're not good enough. Oh, they didn't claim us because there's something wrong with us. That is not the case. If you're on this call with me today, I'm so happy you're here. But I want you to really start feeling the preciousness of your hands. And do put things in the comment. I read them, and I'm happy to have a dialogue with you. No, it's not all about biology. That's what psychology exists. You can shift your biology literally way deep in your nervous system by doing the work I teach. Hi, Jessie. You really can shift your nervous system. And it takes skills. That's why I share the tools. That's why I offer my courses. And it takes slowing way down so that you can feel the hidden story. Hi, Mary. Welcome. And having that come to the surface in an embodied way allows you to add your healthy cognition. Like, oh, I could welcome myself. See, we aren't just movement beings. We aren't just emotional beings. We have healthy cognition. And we can also have mental thinking that is not so healthy. So now take that preciousness and take it a little around the wrist in particular. Feel with a kind of softness. You've already done the proprioception. And feel the tenderness of yourself. Soft, tender wrists. I don't mean floppy. I mean presence in your wrists. Now, what if this tenderness could well up all the way from your hands, all the way from hands to heart? Let's take a moment with our heart. And back to your hands and back to your wrist. You know, the skin is the largest organ. And when you can let in at a skin level your tenderness, what a difference that makes. And then you can allow that tenderness to inhabit your hula hoop. Now, by tenderness, I'm not meaning weakness. I teach a whole course for couples on fierceness and compassion, and for parents too, because you need both. You know, parents know this. They need a bit of tough love sometimes, right? If you're just always accommodating and adapting to your child, you're actually damaging them emotionally, because the world is not that adaptable. And they don't want to be the center of everybody else's attention. So fierceness and compassion. So tenderness can have a bit of both, right? So now I'm, moving my sleeves out of the way to increase this feeling of quality in my skin. Quality of tenderness. Oh my goodness. And especially I'm allowing my hand and my arm. I'm not just touching my arm. My arm is touching my hand. It's a dialogue of touch. And that is so, so important. This dialogue of touch. And literally this happens cellularly.